Get ready to conquer your collection. Here's your look at the new Boss Fight Studio Hero Hacks highly articulated character kit system, Ming the Merciless. Absolute ruler of Mongo, the dictator whose reach spans a galaxy, able to raise legions to do his bidding, the dread leader who demands fealty from most of his villainous criminals in the universe, there are none who can hope to match the mighty Ming the Merciless when it comes to sheer evil. A cold-hearted leader with a flair for intricate plans and plots, a master strategist and genius, all of those who attempt to defy him are doomed to failure and endless pain. Ming has access to Mongo's vast standing army, as well as menagerie of fearsome creatures and an arsenal of the latest technology advanced weaponry. Are any of you worthy enough to test the might of Ming? Didn't think so. I'm not either. It's okay. Before we get a closer look, though, at Ming the Merciless, I'd like to thank the folks over at Boss Fight Studio that did provide this sample of Ming that we could have a look at in this video. Following that, I'm going to bring in my trusty tape measure. There just happens to be about 2 of them tall to make Ming. We're going to measure off just how tall the figure stands. Clickety-click, barba trick, right to the very top of Ming's head. You're looking at the figure. There's 4 inches right there, so Ming's about 3.5 inches in height, or the figure's roughly about 9 centimeters tall. Would you like to see what Ming looks like next to the previously looked at Flash Gordon? Yes, I thought so. Moving over Ming the Merciless. Bring up a little bit of space. There he is. That's what he looks like next to Flash Gordon. Now, it seems to be the case that Flash seems taller, doesn't he? Might have something to do with the additional hair that's been sculpted on the top of his head. Ming is bald, after all. Need to bring everyone's attention to that. But it does seem like Ming is slightly smaller than Flash. In fact, let's go shoulder to shoulder. It's what you would do as a kid when you're measuring yourself next to a kid that you think you're as tall as, but then you realize your mom tells you, no, you're actually a few inches shorter. That happened to me all the time. I was the taller of the kid. In the meantime, though, you can kind of see, okay, maybe Ming isn't as short as originally stated. If you consider the little serpent thing on the top of his headdress, then yeah, I guess he's about the same size, give or take, as Flash that we looked at before. Does look a bit strange having Ming looking off to the side. Let's just turn the figure around here. Having a look at the accessories that come included with the figure. First of all, the figure comes included with the Hero Hacks. That's once again the highly articulated character kit system. I love these stands. I just love the way that they're lifted like this. Slightly raised on the end. You can see all the letters are slightly raised. There's a couple of peg points here too. Now, I did have some problem getting Flash on top of his stand. I didn't seem to have as much of a problem really getting Ming on top of his display stand. You just attach him onto the peg. If you're having any difficult time doing this, though, what may involve you doing is taking the little post right there, taking the hole right there, and doweling. That involves you just twisting the stand back and forth till eventually it makes a hole large enough on the feet that Ming then stands perfectly fine on top of the display stand. We'll go ahead and take the stand and put it off to the side. It would have been interesting, actually, if they could have used a different color than the red. The reasoning why I say that is just reaching off to the side. This is the one that came included with Flash Gordon. I guess they did want to keep things consistent, but I think it would have been fun to make maybe Ming the Merciless's display stand like a different color, like a purple or yellow, kind of matching the color scheme that he has right now. And we'll move those to the side. Figure comes also included with a sword. A sword. The sword seems to be, bringing the other one that came from Flash, seems to be the same. Both the blade, as broad as it is, seems to be molded the exact same, although Ming's is slightly a more darker, almost even more shinier gunmetal gray. The guard and the hilt is also quite different. Flash's continues the trend of silver with adding some additional black for the handle. And then Ming's, of course, the guard is gold here. And then the hilt is also carrying over that color of gold. Other than that, it does look like they're the exact same sword. And I'm intentionally mispronouncing that. You can actually take the sword and put it into his hand. Just clips inside between the fingers and thumb. And as you can see, Ming holds the sword perfectly fine. Or, what you can also do too, moving Ming's arm, just out of the way there for a second arm, you can take then the sword and slide it down the holster on the side of his leg. Now, it's a little bit harder, I noticed, with this holster, this scabbard. The sword had a little more of a harder time getting down there just because he has to kind of get around these little additional straps, these strips of plastic that are off to the side of his leg. And then, of course, you're going to have to deal and contend with the fact that Ming does have quite a luxurious looking cape. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. So you kind of have to deal with two different problems to get the sword completely in place. Putting the figure down here for a second. The figure also comes included with a laser pistol. Shall we? All right. Pew, pew, pew. Comes included with a laser pistol. And we're going to reach off and once again bring in Flash Gordon's. Molding seems to be the same. Coloring definitely very much different from one to the other. Ming gets the gold. Poor Flash comes in second, gets only the silver. Other than that, it looks like the exact same pistol. And yeah, it does fit into his hand the exact same way. The thing about Ming is that he does also come include some swappable hands. Pew, pew, pew. While he's currently holding the laser gun in his hand. He also comes included with a couple of gestured hands too. So if he wants to, point, gesture his minions, tell where they should be going and who they should be conquering, because it comes with a couple of those swappable hands as well. And if you did want to change the hands, pretty simple enough. You're just going to hold on to the top part of his glove and just sort of wiggle this back and forth. You don't have to necessarily do the wiggling. You're going to be doing the wiggling of the hand. And this should, all intensive purposes, pop out. Although it's been pretty tight on me lately, so maybe what I'll do is I'll leave it in for the time being. I may have to just heat this up again with a hair dryer. Soften that plastic up just a little bit to pop that out and replace with the provided hand that I was showing you just earlier. Going ahead and removing the pistol, moving that to the side. I keep calling it a pistol. It's kind of more just a laser ray gun. Getting a closer look at Ming's head sculpt, I gotta say right away, this is my favorite figure of the two that we've looked at. It's a bold statement, yes, but I gotta say, Ming delivers definitely a better looking expression on his face. I like the look of Flash, don't get me wrong. Flash had some really cool colors going for him. Ming has equally the same, not quite the same, but equally bright, vibrant colors. It certainly has a lot more colors going for him, but I love the smirk on his face. That's the thing that seals the deal for me and makes me think why I like Ming so much more. The raised eyebrow, the evil-looking goatee, checks all the boxes nicely for Ming and ends up delivering, I think, a better-looking figure between the two. To the fact that they've actually painted features so small like this, as even like his earrings, you can see off to the side. Little tiny earrings. Very, very cool. Got some gold, again, right in between the little headdress crown that he wears on top of his head, and some nice additional gold that he's got on the top. I think that is actually a dragon. Very nice looking sculpt from the folks over at Boss Fight Studio. And it goes continued from that. Some additional colors, just a whole lot of them. Literally, somebody just grabbed the crayon box and just grabbed every available color they could and threw it here on Ming. There's some nice violets, some darker, richer purples, some red here happening on the strap that he's got on the front. He's got, of course, the big, nice yellow cape. What a glorious looking cape. The cape itself is a slightly softer plastic, but not super soft. It's kind of a medium softness of cape, but I really like the way it flows off to the side like this. And again, it does interfere a little bit when it comes to actually getting the sword and holstering it properly down the side of his leg, but if you can overlook that, it does make for such a superior looking figure. The belt is very similar in the sense that what we got with Flash Gordon, sort of frilly on the top, frilly on the bottom, but Ming has some additional deco done in the middle section of it, adding some nice burgundy and some additional cresting of gold added in there as well. It's such a cool looking figure. Which figure do you prefer? Let me know down below in the comments section. I'm leaning more to Ming myself. Moving that figure to the side. For the articulation here on Ming the Merciless, it's pretty much going to be the same as what we looked at before with Flash Gordon. His head is on a ball joint. Although you're going to have a little more of a problem getting his head to move properly. It looks up fine, and it looks down okay, and you can also rock it back and forth that he seems so surprised he's got incompetent minions. Yeah, I know, that's usually the case when it comes to minions, Ming. They're generally incompetent. That's why the hero never wins. Or that's why you never win. I guess that's why the hero always wins. But the problem with the back collar here that goes as far up beyond the point of the cape is a little harder to have him looking up. Yeah, I'm looking down okay, but having him looking up is kind of where the problem starts, simply just because he's got too high of a collar. Shoulder is okay on this side. Shoulder's a little more limited for obvious reasons on this side. You can take the arm and move it forward and back. This one's going to be a little bit more limited. Still, though, has a swivel in the elbow, a bend at the elbow, and the hands rotate all the way around. Again, really stiff on these hands. I thought I had heated them up before because I always like to generally default the figure back to the way they look when they initially get out of their packaging, and then I just go through the routine of actually showing you guys how to pop the hands in and out. I guess the plastic, it's still cooled enough. I may have to submerge this hand back in hot water to remove it. Anyways, the upper torso is on a ball joint, so you can rotate that all the way around. It also seems as if the figure does have maybe a lower torso articulated point that's actually just below the belt. Legs split out, although it's going to be a little bit more limited for obvious reasons also on this side. Leg goes forward, leg can also go back. 3/4 of the way up the thigh, there's a swivel cut, so that rotates all the way around. The figure does have a double hinge on the knee. Figure doesn't have, though, articulation on the boot. It seems to be just a continuation of the lower calf, but Ming definitely does have ankle articulation this way, and ankle articulation this way as well. Between the two figures, although it's probably really hard to read here, I actually do like Ming a lot more. I know it wasn't so hard to read. Bringing once again Flash Gordon. I think to the credit of these two figures, one thing that they have working for them is that they have like the classic comic look. The brighter colors, the more cartoonier designs, but Ming, for me at least, takes the cake when it comes to the better, superior looking figure. And I'm not just saying it either because he has a cape. Capes don't always mean that I'm going to like you a little bit more, although I've seen a lot of cool cats walking around with capes. Just saying. But Ming definitely does do things a little bit nicer, I feel, and the expression is just too cool to make him the silver. Even though technically, yeah, I guess the color scheme of both his accessories match my feelings when it comes to Ming. They're the gold. And that unfortunately means poor Flash has to come in second, the silver. But that's still second. That's silver. That's okay, Flash. At least you didn't come in the bronze. Though my intended plan really was to heat the hand on Ming and have it removed instead to have a gestured hand, I kind of like the idea of actually having both gripping hands so that you can actually use this sword as somewhat of a cane, and then the other hand is holding his pistol ray gun. Pew, pew, pew. Ming's got some great colors going for him, and an equally awesome looking head sculpt. I love the expression that Boss Fight Studio put into these figures. And again, just to step back for a second and realize what we looked at over the course of this review was a 3 3/4 inch scale figure, and yet the amount of detail and the amount of paint that Boss Fight Studio continue to put into these hero hacks blows me away. I like the look of Ming, again, just as much as he is super sculpted and super detailed, he's also super posable as well. Though for a case like Ming, I'm not going to be probably putting him in any running pose. I think the idea of actually just putting him in sort of a conquering, standing arrogance like I got right now is more than enough for me when it comes to Ming. Big thank you, though, to the folks over at Boss Fight Studio that did provide the sample of the hero hacks Ming the Merciless, who actually underneath has a subtitle of Tyrant. Like we didn't already know that. What do you guys think of the figure? Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you guys like this one, or do you like the Flash Gordon more? Weigh in your thoughts down below. If you like this video, why not hit it with a like? If you're loving the content that you're seeing and certainly want to stick around for more, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification. Make sure as well that you're also coming back to this channel. And in case you did want to see more from the folks over at Boss Fight Studio, popping up at the very end will be a playlist of all the other Boss Fight Studio that I've been looking at over the years. That's zombie stuff. That's more of the hero hacks. There's a whole lot of stuff with more to follow. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.